In this video, I will explain about magnetic boundary conditions. Before that, there are three types of magnetic materials. One is diamagnetic material, and second one is paramagnetic material, and third one is ferromagnetic material. If the relative permeability is less than 1, then it is called as diamagnetic material. If the relative permeability is greater than 1, then it is called as paramagnetic material. If the relative permeability is very greater than 1, then it is called as ferromagnetic materials. Now we will see what are the magnetic boundary conditions which are exist at the boundary between two different magnetic materials. Okay, so magnetic boundary conditions means the conditions exist at the boundary between two different magnetic materials are called as magnetic boundary conditions, and these magnetic boundary conditions are used to determine field in one side of the boundary if you know the field in other side of the boundary. That means if you know the field in one magnetic material, then we can able to determine the field in another magnetic material. Here field means either B bar and H bar. If you know B bar and H bar in one magnetic material, then by using these boundary conditions we can determine B bar and H bar in another magnetic material. Okay, that is the use of magnetic boundary conditions. And here the field is divided into two components. That means either B bar or H bar is divided into two components. One is tangential component and second one is normal component. That is B bar is equals to B tangential and B normal. Similarly, H bar is divided into two components. One is tangential and normal component. That is H bar is equals to HT plus HN. Now, in order to determine the tangential component of magnetic field intensity, we need to use Ampere circuit law. That is, line integral of magnetic field intensity around a closed path is equals to total current enclosed within the closed path. So, by using this Ampere circuit law, first we can determine the tangential component of magnetic field intensity. After that, we can determine the tangential component of magnetic flux density by using the formula B equals to mu into H. Similarly, to determine normal component of magnetic flux density, we can use integral form of Maxwell's second law. That is, the total number of magnetic flux lines passing through a closed surface is equals to 0. That is, closed surface integral of V bar dot ds bar is equals to 0. So, by using this formula, we can determine the normal component of magnetic flux density. Then we can able to determine the normal component of magnetic field intensity. So, once you get tangential and normal component, then we can determine the total magnetic field intensity, at the same time magnetic flux density. I will tell you how to determine the tangential component of magnetic field intensity. So, let us consider two different magnetic materials. One is having the permeability mu1 and another one is having the permeability mu2. And in this magnetic material, the magnetic field intensity is H1 bar and it is divided into two components. One is H1T bar and H1N bar. Similarly, in this magnetic material, the magnetic field is H2 bar and it is divided into two components. One is H2T bar and H2N bar. That means H bar is equals to H1 bar is equals to H1T plus H1N and H2 bar is equals to H2T plus H2N. Now, in order to determine the tangential component of magnetic field intensity, we need to use Ampere circuit law. So, Ampere circuit law states that the line integral of magnetic field intensity around a closed path is equals to total current enclosed within the closed path. So, we need to consider a rectangular closed path and that closed path must be symmetrical about the boundary. So, this is a rectangular closed path and it has 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 6 and 6 to 1. So, this is the direction of this closed path. Now, this line integral of H1 bar, H bar dot dl bar is divided into 6 paths. That is line integral of 1 to 2 H bar. So, H bar means here we are determining the tangential components and this 1 to 2 is in first magnetic material. So, we need to substitute H1T bar in place of H bar. So, integral 1 to 2 H1T bar dot dl bar plus integral 2 to 3. So, 2 to 3 is also in first magnetic material. So, in place of H bar we can substitute H1T bar dot dl bar plus integral 3 to 4. So this 3 to 4 is in second magnetic material, and in second magnetic material the tangential component is H2T. So integral 3 to 4 H2T dot dl bar plus integral 4 to 5. So this is 4 to 5 also in second magnetic material. So in place of H bar we can substitute H2T bar dot dl bar plus integral 5 to 6. This is also in second magnetic material. So integral 5 to 6 H2T dot dl bar plus integral 6 to 1. So it is in first magnetic material. So in integral 6 to 1 in H1 in H bar, in place of H bar we can substitute H1T bar dot dl bar, that is equals to I. Now here this is A bar dot B bar. So A bar dot B bar means mod A, mod B and cos of angle between these two. So this can be written as integral 1 to 2 H1T into dl into cos of angle between H1T and dl, that is theta. So if you see here, so this is H1T and dl, integral 1 to 2 dl, integral 1 to 2 dl means this one. Okay, so this dl and H1T are in same direction. So here the angle theta is equals to 0 degrees plus integral 2 to 3 H1T into dl into cos theta. Here angle theta is 90 degrees. So here this is the direction of H1T and integral 2 to 3 means, so this is dl. So this dl and H1T are normal with each other or perpendicular with each other. So theta equals to 90 degrees. Similarly, integral 3 to 4 H2T dot dl can be written as integral 3 to 4 H2T into dl into cos theta. So here also theta equals to 90 degrees. So here this is 3 to 4, that is dl, and H2T is this one in second magnetic material. So this is the direction of H2T and this is dl. So here the angle between these two is theta equals to 90 degrees plus integral 4 to 5 H2T into dl into cos theta. So here theta equals to, so this is H2T and this is dl 4 to 5. So the direction of H2T and dl are opposite with each other. So theta equals to 180 degrees and plus integral 5 to 6 H2T dl cos theta. Theta equals to 90 degrees. So here it is H2T and it is dl, that is 5 to 6. So the angle between these two is theta equals to 90 degrees. And finally integral 6 to 1 H1T into dl into cos theta. So this is 6 1. So this is dl and this is H1T and the angle between these two is theta equals to 90 degrees, that is equals to I. Now after substituting the value of theta in previous equation, we can get this one, integral 1 to 3 H1T into dl. Here we have theta equals to 0 degrees. So cos 0 means 1. So integral 1 to 3 H1T dl minus integral 4 to 5 H2T into dl. So here we have theta equals to 180 degrees. So cos 180 is minus 1. That's why we can get minus here. And remaining parts are 0. In remaining terms becomes 0 because theta equals to 90 degrees. So cos 90 is 0. So we can get integral 1 to 3 H1T dl minus integral 4 to 5 H2T dl is equals to current enclosed, that is I. And now integral 1 to 3 into dl. So this one integral, sorry, it is 1 to 2. So integral 1 to 2, integral 1 to 2 dl. So the total length of this part 1 to 2 is delta L. So in place of integral 1 to 2 dl we can substitute delta L. This one minus integral 4 to 5 dl. Similarly 4 to 5 the length is delta L. So in place of integral 4 to 5 dl we can substitute delta L, that is equals to I. So here take delta L common, then we can get H1T minus H2T into dl and move this delta L in this side, then we can get I by delta L, that is equals to K. So current per unit length means surface current density, that is K. So H1T minus H2T is equals to K. Let us consider K equals to 0. That means if you consider a magnetic material, that means the field is developed due to magnets, then we can consider k equals to 0. Then the above equation becomes h1t is equals to h2t. So this is the first boundary condition. That means the tangential component of magnetic field intensity in both the magnetic materials is same. That is h1t is equals to h2t. And we know that B is equals to mu into H, or H is equals to B by mu. So H1t can be written as B1t by mu1, that is equals to H2t can be written as B2t by mu2. So from this B1t by B2t is equals to mu1 divided by mu2, and mu1 can be written as mu0 into mu r1, mu2 can be written as mu0 into mu r2. So in both numerator and denominator we have mu0, those two cancel with each other, then we can get mu r1 by mu r2. That means b1t by b2t is equals to mu r1 by mu rt. So this is the second boundary condition. Now I will tell you how to determine the normal component of magnetic flux density. So let us consider two different magnetic materials. Here the permeability of this magnetic material is mu1, and the permeability of this magnetic material is mu2, and the field, that is magnetic flux density in this material is b1, and this b1 is divided into two components, that is one is tangential component and one is normal component, that is b1 bar is equals to b1t bar plus b1 n bar, and the field, that is magnetic flux density in this material is b2, and it is also divided into two components, one is b2t bar, that is tangential component, and another one is normal component, that is b2 n bar. Now I will tell you how to determine this normal component of magnetic flux density. So for that we need to use Maxwell's second law in integral form. That is, it states that the total amount of flux passing through a closed surface is equals to 0. That means closed surface integral b bar dot ds bar is equals to 0. So we need to use this formula in order to determine the normal component of magnetic flux density. So for that we need to consider a closed surface which must be symmetrical about the boundary. So here we need to consider a cylindrical closed surface which has surface top, bottom and sides, and the top surface area is delta s, and bottom surface is area is also delta s. So this total closed surface of b bar dot ds bar is divided into three parts. One is top surface, second one is bottom surface, and third one is sides. So this can be written as integral top b bar dot ds bar. So here we need to substitute b1 n bar, because top surface is in first magnetic material. In first magnetic material the normal component of magnetic flux density is b1 n. So in place of b bar we need to substitute b1 n dot ds bar, plus second one is bottom surface. So here this bottom surface is in second magnetic material. So in place of b bar we can substitute b2 n. So b2 n dot ds bar plus sides. So this is both in magnetic first magnetic material and also second magnetic material. That's why I use b bar. Okay, so b bar dot ds bar is equals to 0. Now this one a bar dot b bar can be written as a into b into cos theta. So b1 n dot ds bar can be written as integral b1 n ds cos of angle between these two, that is cos theta. So here theta equals to 0 degrees. So b1 n means this one, it is in this direction, and ds, the top surface direction is also in the same direction. So these two b1 n and this surface delta s are in same direction. So theta can be considered as 0. So we need to substitute 0 here. So similarly, plus integral b2 n ds cos theta, b2 n ds cos theta. So here theta equals to 180 degrees. So it is in second magnetic material. So this is the direction of b2 n and this is the direction of delta ds. So these two are opposite with each other. So theta equals to 180 degrees. And sides, so the direction of sides is this one, and the direction of flux density is like this. So the angle between these two is theta equals to 90 degrees. So we need to substitute theta equals to 90 degrees. So after substituting these theta values, then we can get b1 n. So here cos theta means cos 0. So 1. So B1n integral ds, and here theta equals to 180 degrees, so cos 180 is minus 1, so minus B2n integral ds is equals to 0. It becomes 0 because we have theta equals to 90 degrees, so cos 90 is 0. So B1n integral ds minus B2n integral ds is equals to 0. Integral ds, top surface. The surface area of top cylindrical surface is delta s. So here also the surface area of bottom surface cylindrical surface is also delta s. So take delta s common and take that delta s into this side, then we can get 0. So from this we can get B1n is equals to B2n. So this is the third boundary condition. That means the normal component of magnetic flux density is same in both the magnetic materials. And this B1n can be written as mu1 into h1n, that is equals to B2n can be written as mu2 into h2n. So from this we can get h1n by h2n is equals to mu2 by mu1. This mu2 can be written as mu r2 and mu1 can be written as mu r1, because in both we can get mu naught, so those two cancel with each other. So finally we can get h1n by h2n is equals to mu r2 by mu r1. So this is the fourth boundary conditions. So these are the four boundary conditions. One is h1t is equals to h2t. That means the tangential component of magnetic field intensity in both the magnetic materials is same. And the second one is b1t by b2t is equals to mu r1 by mu r2. And the third one is b1n is equals to b2n. And the fourth one is h1n by h2n is equals to mu r2 by mu r1. So by using these four boundary condition, we can determine the field in one side of the boundary. That means the field in one magnetic material if you know the field in other side of the boundary. That means if you know the field in other another magnetic material.